We are joined now by New England Revolution head coach and sporting director, Bruce Arena. If you have a question for Bruce, please hit the raise hand icon, and we'll try to get to as many of you as we can this morning. For our first question, we're going to go to Frank DeLappa from the Boston Globe. Frank, you're unmuted now.
Great. Hey, Bruce. And one thing you've always said is that every game is different, but that's under normal conditions. So can you talk about how different this game will be than the last two games in the snow? And do you expect Pumas to radically change their tactics from the opening leg?
Well, clearly, the game's different for a lot of reasons. Weather conditions. Last game was snowing and probably 30 degrees in Foxborough. Here, it'll probably be 65 degrees at kickoff on a good field and probably a good crowd. Entirely different from the scene we saw in Foxborough. And yeah, their tactics are going to change. They're down 3 goals in the competition. So they'll be very aggressive and certainly in an attacking mode.
Next, we'll go to Tom Quinlan from WPRO. Tom, you're unmuted.
Hey, Bruce, just real tough schedule for you guys last couple of games here. How do you feel where the guys are, considering what you said a couple of weeks ago about how the preseason screwed you guys up? Are you happy where things sit right now?
Well, nothing has been normal. I can't say coming back to Foxborough has been a plus for us. We had a couple of weeks of training in California and came back and had games canceled. We haven't been able to train on a normal basis, and then we've had these games in these conditions. So it's been a really unusual start to the season. So am I pleased about it? Not really, to be honest with you.
Next, we go to Sam Minton from SB Nation. Sam, you're unmuted.
Hello, Bruce. Thanks for doing this. I just want to ask, obviously, with how things ended against Real Salt Lake, just what are you expecting for your team to respond in this Pumas game? And I also wanted to ask, do you have any update on Henry Kessler and his injury status?
Nothing on Henry. What was the other part of your question? What did you ask your first part of your question?
Yeah, sorry about that, Bruce. Just overall, how things ended with RSL, kind of how are you expecting your team to respond and, perform against Pumas?
They'll be fine. They'll be ready to play. The Salt Lake game is over with, and we move forward.
Next, we go to Jeff Lemieux. Jeff, you're unmuted now.
Hey, Bruce, it's Elizabeth here. I just wanted to ask about the elevation that you guys are experiencing in Mexico. How could that potentially impact tomorrow, and how's the team doing with that?
Well, it's a factor. We haven't experienced it yet because we haven't been outside the train. We will today. My experience in the past is it's a factor, but we have conditioned athletes, and they're well informed as to what to expect. So we'll be as hydrated as we can be. We're fortunate that we're playing in the evening and not during the day, where obviously the temperatures are a lot warmer. So, I think we'll be fine.
Now we'll go to Jeff Lemieux. Jeff, you're unmuted.
Bruce, you mentioned obviously Pumas have to kind of approach things a little differently because they're down 3-0, but from your perspective, does it change at all how you approach the game being up 3-0 heading into the second leg?
Of course. Right? I mean, common sense would tell you it's our approach is certainly different. We don't need to score goals. They do.
We'll take one more question here. We'll go back to Tom Quinlan from WP.
Just for those guys that made their first time appearance in CONCACAF Champions League last week, how would you say they did for their first time?
They did fine. We had a very good result. Hopefully, we can get that same kind of effort and performance tomorrow, but it will be challenging. But I think it was a good experience for our team.
Okay, Bruce, that's all the questions we have for you this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.